What's up, guys? I'm Joe. Today I'm talking about the new Robert Plant album, Carry Fire. So, Robert Plant is back with his 11th solo album, obviously known for being a lead singer of Led Zeppelin. You know, while I'm a massive Led Zeppelin fan, they're easily in my top 5 favorite bands of all time. I never really caught on to Robert Plant's solo work. You know, his work in the 80s was just, very 80s sounding. It didn't have the rock edge I would have liked, more pop leaning at times. And, recently he's been diving more into the folk type of realm. I thought his last album, Lullaby and the Ceaseless Roar, was pretty solid. He had that 27 collaboration album with Alison Krauss, which wasn't bad at all, but definitely, more into the folk type realm, and that's where you're at here. You shouldn't really go into Robert Plant's solo work expecting Led Zeppelin. It definitely doesn't have that hard rock edge or that bluesy edge for the most part. I think, if anything, this album is, most relatable to Led Zeppelin 3, which apart from the Immigrant Song was more of a folk type affair. And, personally one of my favorite records from them. So I think that's why this album, Carry Fire in particular, is really standing out to me as some of Robert Plant's best solo work. It just kind of feels more like Zeppelin at times than pretty much all of his other solo albums. But at the same time, not trying to mimic it and not trying to do exactly that. It just, feels like the way the vocal melodies are working here sound like something he would lend to a Led Zeppelin song. But you do get a pretty good diversity of sound on this album, which I also like as well. You definitely have some folkier moments, like I was saying. For example, Season Song is a great example of just a very laid-back, chill, atmospheric kind of acoustic song. Which has a very nice, relaxing melody to it. I think the May Queen, the opener, will also, bring back memories of Led Zeppelin type music. You have that kind of stomp to it that, sort of reminds me of Led Zeppelin 3, some of the moments there. Some great acoustic guitar work going on, and the way that Plant kind of croons over it, harkens back to that sound in a really effective way. While this is mostly like a pretty laid-back album, you do get some moments where there's a little bit of rock injected into it, a little bit of blues going on. That's especially prominent in Bones of Saints, which definitely picks up the pace a little bit, has a nice sort of Rolling Stones-esque rock to it, mixing the blues elements with a sort of classic rock vibe. Overall, just makes for a pretty fun song, kind of breaks up the slowness and the atmosphere of the record, just gives it a little bit of juice to keep things moving along. And the fifth track, Carving Up the World Again, another one that kind of has that kind of Stones-esque feel to it. It's a little bit more of a rocker, but still mostly acoustic. Has some nice, upbeat kind of guitars to it, which also get their, fair share of lead breaks in here, which sound really cool. I like that the song really builds up towards the end, and there's layered vocals and all sorts of instrumentation going on to really build things up. Even some of the weaker moments on here lend something interesting to the overall sound, and the overall kind of worldly take that Plant takes on this album, really incorporating a lot of different genres from a lot of different places, I feel. For example, on Keep It Hid, not one of my favorites on here, but it has an interesting sort of jazzy groove to it, which is not something I expected in the course of the album, but overall it's pretty cool. It's something different. And speaking of that kind of worldly vibe, the song Carry Fire, the title track, is my favorite on here. This is a fantastic song. It just caught my ear instantly. I haven't been able to stop listening to it. It has a nice driving beat to it, and while it is, acoustic in nature, it's very heavy and very dark. And my favorite part about this song is the Latin kind of flavor added to it. A very loud, high in the mix, Latin-styled, Spanish-styled acoustic guitar, which is just fantastic. And I love the way Plant's vocals kind of mimic it at times. I love the added string arrangements and stuff like that to the song. Overall, my favorite on here, probably one of my favorite songs of the year, just because it just jumped out at me and just, grabbed hold. Absolutely deserving to be the title track of the album. And you also have some sort of interesting atmospheric moments here. For example, Heaven Sent the Closer. Just a very spacey, like I said, atmospheric, darker kind of vibe. The same of which can be said about Away with Words, which does a similar kind of spacey thing, but, adds more piano here. It's more piano-based. I really like the way that Plant allows this song to breathe. His vocal melodies will stop at times and just kind of let the atmosphere take over before he comes back in. So overall, I gotta say this album surprised me quite a lot, just because I haven't really been in the loop of Robert Plant's solo stuff. just his work hasn't really, captured my attention like Led Zeppelin had. And I gotta say, for me personally, I think this is his best solo record. He just sounds inspired. The varying genres just work so well throughout the course of the record. While it's mostly a sort of laid-back, atmospheric at times album, or very acoustic-driven otherwise, it just has a nice flow to it. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't get old. So yeah, I gotta give this one a 4.5 out of 5. Like I said, it definitely did surprise me. So yeah, let me know what you think of the record in the comments. I gotta say, these classic rock guys have been coming out with great records this year. You got Robert Plant, Roger Waters, the Black Country Communion record, which has, Glenn Hughes in it. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.